Hi everyone, it's Kim. Thanks for joining me. I am so excited about this 13 Days of Craftoween kit. It is like an advent calendar of 13 days for Halloween. And I discovered this quite by accident months ago when I was scrolling on my phone one night when I couldn't sleep. And I wound up ordering this from a scrapbook store out of state that I was totally unfamiliar with. But when I went and looked for it online at Spellbinders, I couldn't find it on their website. And it's on there now, but it says it's sold out. So I don't know if this was something that they wanted to test out because there's not a ton of them out there. But I want to show it to you. And if it's something that you're interested in, I would encourage you to get online and search for it and see if you can find it online at a scrapbook store somewhere, an independently owned scrapbook store. And if you have a local scrapbook store, check with them to see if maybe they have some extras that they ordered. But there's 13 days of die sets in here, plus a stamp set and some sequins. So I've only gotten through the first 6 days. I'm not waiting till October to open this up, but I am only doing one little die set a day. So I'm through day 6, and when you open up the boxes, there's 13 of these little cellophane sealed folders, and I'm opening up one a day. So we'll go through the first 6 days. I know all of these have been revealed online if you're interested in seeing what they are, and a lot of people are doing them one day at a time. So here's the first day. When you open it up, it has the die set. Now I've put mine on a magnetic sheet, but you have all the die pieces here, and then you have what the die is once it's assembled. And there's also a stamp set that is included in this kit with various sayings, and they will have one of the stamps with the die set just to give you an idea of what you can combine it with, but you can use whatever. And then there's also a package of Halloween colored sequins. So orange, purple, and black are in this sequin pack. So what I want to do is show you the dies once they're put together, and then I will show you a card sample of what I've done with it. So let's start with day 1. And I made this little book because this way I can go back down the road and see what that die set for day 1 is. And this is, I'm in the middle of making this, and I'll talk more about this little booklet of what I did and how I binded it together. But this way I can go back through and I'll have these labels. So this is day 1, and I can see just what's in this day 1 die set, because I won't remember this, in a couple months, what's in each day. So we have got our Count Dracula here the first day. This is what he looks like after he's put together. And then I made some guidelines for myself. Until I get through all 13 days, I won't mix and match all of these dies together. I decided I will use the main character, and then I will pull in dies and stamps that I have from other sets. And then once I'm through the 13 days, I'll mix and match. So this is my count using other dies to combine, because you can do whatever you want. I love these guys because you can make them as scary as you want or as fun as you want. So changing up the colors alone will make a big difference in how your character is viewed. But very simply, a full moon, Count Dracula. 'Tis the season to be spooky. Simple card to put together, which is what I like, but I think he's pretty striking with that moon. The moon is from Tim's set. This is called Moonlight. So I used the biggest moon, and I just kept it simple. I didn't add anything else. He's the main actor of this scene. And then for this sentiment on this one, I didn't stamp it because the cardstock is so black. I put 'Tis the season to be spooky, and that is from the letterpress die set from Hero Arts. This is new this year, and of course you can glimmer this as well. This is called Spooky Season, and they have letterpress and foil. So letterpress it or glimmer, whatever your choice is. but I do love some of these words. They're all cut out individually, so you don't do one big sheet and cut them out. You can pick and choose what you want. And so I used 'Tis a Season to Be Spooky, and I did letterpress. So that is day 1. So we'll go to day 2. Now, notice on the outside, I just want to say that they never show you what's inside of it on the outside of it. But when I look at this, I'm like, there's a good layout for a card. Whether or not all these dies are in this kit, I don't know. Or if you mix and match stuff that you have, you could use this as a layout for a card. So day number 2, I won't open each one because they work the same. I'm just going to flip my page here. And day number 2 is this crow standing on the skeleton. So let's look at that. You'll just see day 3 here because I can't bend that book enough. So here's my crow on a skeleton. And this time I did use the stamp set, Wishing You a Mysterious Halloween Night. So this is what I believe was on the inside of the little folder that they suggested, but I could use any of the sentiments that I want. So sometimes I used what they suggested or they showed on the sample. Other times I changed it up. And this time in the background, I have this great tombstone. Again, that's another Tim die. So this is a retired die set graveyard, and it's colorized. So it took me longer just to put this gravestone together than it did for the crow and the skull head. And then again, the stamp that was included with the kit. So that's day number 2. And you've already seen day number 3 here. So this is what our day number 3 looks like on the package. Inside is this poison bottle, good size poison bottle. So let me show you what I did with that one. And Have a Bone Rattling Halloween is from the stamp set that's included. So there's that skull hand that I just love, love, love from Booze Cocktail. Again, I'll get good use out of that this year. And then the ribbon, I don't have to have a ribbon. I kind of have this on here temporarily. I don't have to have a ribbon, but I thought I'm going to make this a fancy jar. Maybe someone's getting this bottle of poison as a gift. So I have a couple ribbons that I thought about. The first one is from this perfume bottle. Gorgeous You perfume bottle has that gorgeous, very elegant ribbon. And there's another ribbon, if you don't maybe have the perfume bottle, but there's another ribbon similar. It's a little different. Longer tails and a little smaller bow part. And that is from the new Spellbinders set, Gifting Bow. So this is coming out or is out for the holidays this year. So again, you can use that bow separate from all the other pieces if you want. So maybe you have one or the other, or maybe you have both, and then you can make a choice if you want to make your poison bottle a little more elegant. All right, so that's day 3. So we're on to day 4. And what is in day 4 is a ghost and a cat and a piece of pizza. So let's take a look at that. I used that pretty much as it was shown, a little different. I didn't include on my card the boo little banner there, but there is a pumpkin included in that set. Let's see, I didn't put that on there. I do believe there's a pumpkin. No, I take that back. Let's see, where's that pumpkin from? From another day. Uh-oh, I broke my rule. We'll have to find that pumpkin. We will uncover it here shortly, but it has a nice slice of pizza, and there is a stamp that says, I want a pizza you. Now, I didn't really know what that meant, so I looked it up, and it was sort of fuzzy as to what that meant, and I thought, wow, if I don't get it, I know the people that I would send it to aren't going to get it. So I chose, at this point, a different sentiment, have a treat-filled night. I figured having a pizza on Halloween would be a treat. So my little kitty's just jumping up there, handing the ghost its pizza. And you know what? I do have to look. Let's look in day 4 here and see. Now I'm curious. Ah, the pumpkin is with that. So I need to make a pumpkin and add it to this page. That way I know exactly what's in this die set. So yes, this pumpkin goes with the ghost and the kitty cat. So this one was super easy, and I just fussy cut really easily around that sentiment because there are no dies with the sentiment. So day 5, here we are is the package, and here is what's in that package. A spider. And I got to tell you, I love these legs, and I'm already thinking how I can use those legs for something else. I don't know if he has just 2 eyes or I guess he has 6 eyes, 6 different eyes. I decided I wanted to change that up a little bit. I kind of got freaked out with all those eyes. So I decided to make a 2-eyed spider. Now there's 3 layers to this die. So the bottom layer is solid, like you see here, which is the white layer. Then the second layer has all these teeny tiny holes, which shows the pupil of the spider eyes, and then the silver layer is the last layer with the bigger holes. On some of these dies, I did have to stop and think what layer goes first. And if you do it wrong, it's no big deal. If I flip my eyes around, that would still work. The top layer is pretty evident, but I really had to stop and think about the first and second layer on some of these dies. So I decided to make a 2-eyed spider. I kind of like the look of that better. And my eyes, I actually took the sequin pack here, and I took 2 of the small sequins that were black, and I actually flipped them over. So what you're seeing here is like the back side of the sequin as compared to what I'm going to say the front side, or like the deboss side of the sequin. So I don't know if you can see that because I know it's awful shiny. But I put those down and then just put I had a white gel pen and just put the little white spots in there. So I love the spider, but maybe not with so many eyes. That's just my personal preference for the spider. And then the background, I had the Better Press spider web from last year, spider web backgrounds, and letterpressed my spider web into my paper. Now this paper is a piece of the photo paper that I colored with, I believe, Distress reinkers, but it's very slick. So I definitely use the Distress ink when I used that Better Press plate because I knew that the ink would dry on this really slick glossy paper. But I love him. I think the web works really well with him. Okay, and we're on day 6, the last one that I've gotten to so far. And that is this little skeleton. Love him. Now, he's another one where I had to stop and think about which layer to cut first. When you look at him, a lot of times we think, oh, well, the skeleton part is in white and it would be on top of the black. But the base is white, and then when you cut the black layer out, the black bones fall out, so the white is showing underneath. Now, I was like, oh, I'm not going to throw good bones away. So I took those black bones and put it on a white background too. So do what you want. If you want to save your bones and make another skeleton, you can certainly do that. So this time I paired him up with the big cauldron from Tim. This is a Biggs die. This is retired, but it's the cauldron die. It's nice and big, and that's why I really like that die. And he's got his broom, and I love this little cauldron with some kind of goo coming out. So that's what he must have gotten out of this big cauldron. And for my kind of goo coming out, that I got out of the booze cocktail. So if you have something, whether it's Halloween or I think the honey pot from Winnie the Pooh, if you have that die set with the honey pot, I think it had honey coming out. So that would have worked too, coming out of this cauldron. And then Hocus Pocus, it's all a bunch of Hocus Pocus, is from that letterpress set again, from Spellbinders. And again, this is called Spooky Season. So I just letterpressed, I die cut out my cauldron, and then I letterpressed on here. And I used a darker color, but because I had grunged it up so much, what I did do, and this actually worked, I left this on my letterpress magnetic sheet. I didn't move it. So after I letterpressed it the first time and I couldn't see it real well because the cauldron was so grunged up and dark, I took it's like a Sharpie, but it has a flare tip pen, a silver pen. And I just kind of went down the center of the letters. I didn't color it all in. I just kind of went down the centers, lightly misted it with water, or super light, just to kind of spread that ink because I wasn't sure this was going to work. Ran it back through and hope it still stayed lined up, and it did. So that silver isn't covering all those letters perfectly, and that's okay, but it made them pop. So I could read that a lot easier. That was my whole goal with doing that. So I'll have to try using a silver marker on some of these letterpress plates and just mist it with water and see what else I can do with that. So that's the first 6 days. We'll look at the next 7 days after I've got those all opened up. But I want to talk about my little book. And as I said before, I'll label it day 1 through day 13. And then in the back here, I've got some extra pages. So let me just flip back here. What I'm going to do is like take all the hats and put the hats here and all kind of the miscellaneous pieces, because sometimes like this pizza, I could maybe use on something totally unrelated to Halloween anytime during the year. And I know I'm going to have other pieces. So I've got 3 skulls. I will see what else comes up if I have more skulls to add. And I've got some extra pages that I'll combine things a little differently. But how I made this little book, it is Coptic stitched together. But the die that I use for the file folders, and I just decided to use the file folders. You can have regular signatures for a Coptic book or a single page, whatever you want to do. But I use 49 and Market's Thinlits snap and swap dies. And so I have 5 different tab positions, plus then there's a die for just a straight edge, but they all pop in and out of the main folder piece. So here's my main folder, and then I have all these separate. And I know they've done demos on this. So here's like the straight edge, and then there's 5 different dies for the placement of the tab there. So when I lay it down, I just pop those in. If I can hang on to that, and then I can die cut. And this one, as you can see, I could also flip this the other way if I need a longer tab. I could have a longer tab. So that's what I used for my file folders for this one. And then I'm just decorating the pages. The cover part, I just measured and die cut that out to the size that I wanted. I'm going to put a link to the video I watched for this Coptic stitch. It isn't hard. I had done this before, and she starts off real slow. I love the video because you can work along with her and you can decide how many holes. So she doesn't discuss how to punch the holes. So you if you're totally unfamiliar and you need some guidance on that, you'll have to look up another Coptic stitch video. But basically, you just punch the holes the same location for every signature or folder or piece of paper. You need it to fold so that you can do the stitch. But if you're interested in that, get online because there's a lot of videos on Coptic stitching. And I am going to attach the links in the description box if you want to see the one that I watched, because she goes slow and explains it well, and you can work along with her. I put October 13th on mine instead of the 13 days of Craftoween. That was just too long. this is for me. I'll know that this is the 13 die sets for October. And the letters that I used are from the Vault Coffin box from last year, the set that came out. Now, you'll notice there's no numbers with this, so I thought I got to come up with 13. So the 1 was easy, that's the I. The 3 is really the die to make the E, but that works. So that's how I made this little book. Now I want to show you another book that I had made in anticipation of this set coming out, but it was too small for the dies. So this is my first one I did. It's again using the file folders, and then I just could decorate each page. This one is from Tim's Vault set as well. I should say it's Vault Noteworthy. So this is the folder, but it only has one tab. So I didn't want all my tabs lined up behind each other. So I flipped the folder back and forth. So sometimes it's the front of the folder. Sometimes like this is the back side of the folder here. And I just lined the smaller side of the folder up just to make it work. And then my little stamps is from a gift someone had given me one time. This is a little Halloween stamp, probably his long ago retired, from Paige Taylor Evans. But it has all these little Halloween words or spiders, teeny tiny pumpkins. But that was ideal to stamp my little tabs. Now, one little thing, this has, I think, 11 file folders, something like that, but I'm going to share something with you. So these should be lined up straight. Mine are perfectly at a parallel to each other, but I'm going to do this. And they're lined up perfectly this way. And I know exactly what happened because I started this and then I think I had to stop and go start dinner. So when I came back for whatever reason, I picked up on my pile in a different direction. So you can see how I have a perfectly straight line if my book is split in two. Not a big deal. I'm fine with it that it's parallel, but technically it should be straight. I just tell you that because in the video they talk about keeping everything straight. But if you happen to have a book like mine, it is for Halloween. So it's okay that it's a little more unique. And if you aren't into the Coptic stitch, but you want to do a book like this or like the bigger album, here's another way to do that. Let's see here. What did I do with that album? You could do the same thing for this. So here's the file folders. This is just a little smaller one, but I glued two sides together. So this time I glued the two tab sides together because I wanted them on the tabs on opposite ends. And then this time the two smaller sections. So this gives me the same kind of thing. I just glued the pieces together. I won't have as many pages with the same number of file folders as I would in this book, but it's easy. It still has a nice looking spine edge. So you could do the same thing with this one if you didn't want to do the Coptic stitch and just glue the two pieces together like this. And then you would still have a book that you could decorate or use for your 13 days of Halloween, or Craftoween, I should say. So I am so excited, like I said, to get this, and I think the next 7 days are going to be a lot of fun to open one up each day. If this is something you're interested in and you were totally unaware of it, get online and see if you can still get a kit from an independent scrapbook somewhere in the country, because I know it shows that this kit is sold out on Spellbinders. So hopefully we'll find out a little earlier about this next year from Spellbinders, and they'll produce more of the kit so they'll be a little easier to get later on after it is released. But thank you for joining me today, and I'll see you again in a future video.